Good morning, children. Welcome back to the Google Classroom of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. So, in the last class, we discussed the topic phrasal verbs. And there ends our first chapter, Monkey Trouble. So, today, let's discuss a poem. A poem titled The Fly, written by Walter de la Mare. So before moving to the poem, let me introduce our poet Walter de la Mare. Walter de la Mare is an English poet, short story writer and also a novelist. He is best known or remembered for his works for children, especially his work The Listeners. It is a very notable work or a very famous work. Just like our Ruskin Bond, he is also best known for children's literature. Okay, let's move to a poem now. Let me read the poem for you. The Fly by Walter de la Mare. How large unto the tiny fly must little things appear? A rosebud like a feather bed, its prickle like a spear, a dewdrop like a looking glass, a hair like golden wire, the smallest grain of mustard, see as fierce as coals of fire, a loaf of bread, a lofty hill, a wasp, a cruel leopard, and specks of sail as bright to see as lambkins to a shepherd. So the title of the poem is The Fly. What do you mean by fly? A fly, it is a small tiny creature. It's a small insect. You might have seen in your homes. So this poem is about how the world looked different for a fly. So this poem is told through from the point of view of a fly. How the things in the nature, it appears different for a fly. Whatever seems so small or insignificant or unimportant to us, how those objects appear huge or big, gigantic for a fly. Gigantic means extremely large or huge. So the objects in the nature, it appears gigantic for a fly, whereas it seems small to us. For us it's a small object, but for a fly it is very much huge. So this poem is told from the point of view of a fly. How a fly feels the objects in this nature. Here, the poet Walter de la Mare, he represents or he presents the world of a fly. How everything seems to a fly. Whatever objects is there in this nature, how it is to a fly. Look at the first stanza. How large unto the tiny fly must little things appear. A rosebud like a feather bed, its prickle like a spear. So he says that, the poet says that everything in this world must appear huge or gigantic for this tiny fly. Even though all these objects is small to us. And the poet says that for the fly, even the rosebud you know, it is a flower whose petals are still unopened, not bloomed. Such a rosebud seems like a bed of feathers. For the tiny fly, it is just like a luxurious bed, a large bed. And its prickle means the thorns on the stem and the flower or on the leaves. All these appear like a huge weapon. Spear is a weapon. It has a long pole with a pointed tip, metallic pointed tip. So even the thorns of a flower, it seems like a huge weapon for this fly. So everything in this world, every tiny object in this world appears so large for this fly. So today we will stop here. We will stop with the first stanza. We will we will get into the explanation of the next two stanza, the second and the third stanza in the next classes. So read the text. A text is attached. The poem of the text is attached. So read the text, read the poem carefully. We will continue in the next class. So that's all for today. Let's wind up the session. See you in the next class.